Hey, folks. Good evening. I'm Carlos, and I'm with William, and he's won.
I'm Rob. Not sure where you were going with that.
And he's won point salad with all onions. Rob Childers.
Oh, gotcha. Doing some kind of snazzy new intro you didn't tell me about. Okay.
Didn't catch up on that. Did you see?
Oh, that was a big surprise.
No idea what you were talking about.
Going on.
Yeah, I didn't either. No idea
Your
what you're
face
talking
made me laugh when you realized, wait a minute, what's going on?
I don't know what you were talking about.
We're the Beans and Ice Podcast, a podcast about how we game. And we want to thank you for joining us tonight on our live stream viewer call-in show. I'm going to go ahead and get the phone lines popping and line open. 813-618-7099 is the phone line.
You can definitely tell this is a live show.
Oh, it's 100% live.
This intro was a little off, but we'll work on it. We'll get it better by next week.
I thought it was. Oh, yeah, I'll improve it.
Yeah, it was a little weak, all over the place. But anyway, we're here to talk about whatever hopefully you want to talk about. Feel free to call in. Our topic, we do have a topic this week. Some weeks we do, some weeks we don't. This time we're going to talk about our playthrough of Whistle Stop. The three of us played that just before we came on the air tonight, and it's the first time any of us had played it. So Carlos buffed up on the rules. He actually put together a little rules teach video that he put up on the channel. Was it yesterday or the day before?
I think like the day before yesterday.
2 days ago.
I did my first teaching.
First teach, and how did that go?
That was harder than I thought. Like, I didn't. Mad props to all those folks out there that do the how to play stuff
as a thing. Yeah,
that was probably the hardest video I've ever made, ever.
Yeah,
ever.
Harder
just
than all the other stuff we've done. Yeah, so we've done some playthroughs. We've done some news videos and other kinds of things. But I can imagine. I've been, Dan from over at Your Turn. I've been with him while he shot a couple of videos, and it's a little painstaking. Those how to plays. It takes some work. Yeah.
No, it wasn't easy. I thought I'd give it my first shot, being that it was a 8-page rule book. So I'm thinking with 8 pages, it shouldn't be that hard. Mm-hmm. I had to recut over and over again just to get things out correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Right, putting the right emphasis on the right syllable.
Yeah.
Right? It makes a difference on how a rule reads. Yeah. Is it a comma? Is it a period? Is it, what is this rule? So it really is a skill set. Mad props to Rodney Smith.
Yep.
You do amazing work. Keep doing it, because I'm not going to compete with you on that end.
Yeah.
We're just going to babble about games. That's what I do best.
Yep. That's the fun stuff for us. So, yep.
But we just finished the game of Whistle Stop. It's a Bezier Games designed by Scott Caputo, and it is a 2 to 5 player pick up and deliver ish.
Yeah, there's a little bit of stock manipulation, stock trading going on or stock acquisition, I guess we could call it. But there's a pick up and deliver, some resource management. You're getting resources, gathering cubes, gathering resources as you go, and then you're trying to get to endpoints. I guess they're little cities or towns to trade them in. So
I didn't call them cubes.
They didn't call them cubes. Oh,
no, because they were. Rob called them brown
blue
cubes
and brown cubes and red cubes, and I don't care what the rest they are, but that's what they are.
No, the resources that you're picking up come in either common or rare. The common ones are white for cotton, brown for lumber, gray for gravel. The rare ones are blue for steel, red for cattle, for beef, and then green for whiskey. And in honor of green for whiskey, I've made sure to bring our very own whiskey to enjoy with the game. So we've been moving some whiskey around, some more than others.
Yeah.
And in this game, you're going to pick up and deliver. You're going to lay tiles to create new routes. You're going to end up on spots and locations that let you trade in those resources for victory points and for shares in different train companies. And then at the end of the game, you're going to score based on those shares. It's going to impact how many points you get.
Yeah, it's kind of a point salad at the end. We talked about that a little bit. It's at the end. You're scoring actually for everything. You're scoring for your shares. You're scoring for your leftover resources. You're scoring for any coal. You normally use coal and whistles in the game to move around. But if you have extra of those left at the end, you're scoring points for those. You're getting points for some upgrade tiles that you can acquire throughout the game. So you're getting points for a whole lot of different stuff at the end. Yeah.
I like that, how everything gave you points. So it wasn't one of these games where certain items don't give you anything at the end of the game. Right. Everything you had left on your tableau gave you something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like it was a mistake picking up something on the way in that maybe you weren't going to burn.
Yeah, might as well grab it if you can.
Right, grab it on the way in.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be worth points later.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, when you were playing, you were first player, and you just shot straight to the end. And first player never changes.
Right, it's
You're
interesting.
always first player.
It's always whoever starts first is always first, yeah.
I mean, for me, it was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And you set the pace, and we were allowed to go our own pace. You went straight there, so we knew that we can go slower to try to get as many points as we went in, as opposed to just going straight in.
Yeah.
I
think that would balance the game out a little bit for those who goes first player.
I've never played before, so I wasn't sure what would be the right way to do it.
Yeah, with one play, it'd be hard for me to tell what the better strategy was, but yeah.
My thought process, William, in doing that was, if I can get a train or a couple of trains off of the west coast, right? Because it's the Transcontinental Railroad, you're getting across from the east all the way to the west trying to deliver goods. If I can get a train to the end tile and off the board, now my coal that I get every round, which stays the same no matter how many trains I have on the board, I have less that I have to distribute, right? There's less trains that are requiring coal. So now I can focus on some of the other trains and bring them forward.
Right. That's a good thought, too. On the flip side of that, though, with the less trains, you have a little less ability to get the resource cubes that you need, because if you got more trains on the board, you've got more options of where you can go to pick up a red cube or a blue cube, or, I'm going to keep calling them colored cubes. But so you do limit yourself by that. So, but racing across, as you pointed out, as you got there conveniently, was that the first ones, the resource spots that you can take by getting your train across to the west and taking it off the board, when you get to the end, you take it off the board and you claim a resource location, but there are some that are definitely better than others. And so if you get those the first three trains have a little bit of an edge on the next three trains, on a little bit of an edge on the next three trains. So getting one or two over there quick is seems to be a pretty good strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll notice how I had a couple of trains in the top left because I was able to get there first, and that got me like 2 whistles. One time got me 3 whistles.
Yeah.
So and whistles let you move your trains more efficiently than a coal would.
Yeah.
With a whistle, you can move in any direction. With a whistle, you can move two stops instead of just one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just more efficient. So getting there early allowed me to move my other trains quicker.
Sure.
So there's a lot of decision points in this game.
Yeah. It was a little thinky. It was a little different than I thought it was going to be. The stock part, I didn't realize just in the little bit I had seen about the game before that there was this whole stock collection thing, and so that was kind of an interesting twist. It was a cool twist. It was something that I wasn't expecting, but kind of racing for those stocks, trying to get them. When you get the first stocks, you get a lower number. So at the end, you look to see who has the majority of each stock, and whoever has the lowest number, if there's a tie, ends up breaking that tie. So it kind of makes it a little bit of a race to get to those different colored stocks to try to get the number one stock, the lowest numbered one, right off the board. So if it ends up in some kind of tie, you've got that tiebreaker built in right from the start. So
yeah, trying to figure out your plan to get to the different towns.
Yeah.
Now, you folks, what you're seeing on the board right now is almost a complete map. It's hard to see because we got our
little bit of a
laptops up
distance
for the
there.
show.
Yeah.
But if you
spaces that are empty,
Rob can pull it up on the BGG stuff.
Yeah, because I can pull up some pictures here.
But when we started this, the board is practically empty. You only got a starter row, you got a middle row, and then you got an end row. So those are the only columns that are set for you to be able to meet. Everything else is open, and I really enjoyed that part of the game because it allowed me to decide what tiles that are in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Right, based on what I had in my hand, I decided what I'm going to do with the train because I can almost plot out what resources this track will lay as this train goes down this track on its way to a certain town that requires certain resources.
Right.
So it's kind of like that 3 turns ahead planning.
Yeah.
That I'm not good at.
Definitely a lot of planning going on. Yeah.
But I love how it feels when I get it right.
right?
Like when it actually works and I get it right, it feels good.
I think the general feeling is like I don't really know what I got going on in the beginning.
Yeah.
I had no idea where to go, what to do.
Well, obviously worked in the end.
Yeah, you ended up winning. So it didn't work out
yeah,
so
we didn't even
bad.
talk about our scores yet. Let's go around the board on the scores. In trailing in complete last place.
Yeah.
Because I really do believe because of the placement of one train.
Yeah, that hurt me for sure.
With 116 points, Robert in second place, and I was leading the majority of the game.
Yeah.
With 151 points is me, Carlos, and the winner with 174 points, who looked like he was doing the worst most of the game.
Yes.
Until about mid-game, late game,
Yeah.
William just came back and took it with 174 points. So that was our victory points for our game. I'm not sure if any of you have played it before.
And planning it correctly so that you get all of your 4 off of the board at the very end without, your last train off the board is big, because any trains left on the board, as you can, probably can't see here, but it is a big difference. You get, just for scoring that last train, you're looking at probably 15, 20 points. So just.
Yeah, right here, this one little blue train, that's Robert.
Yep, I had one stuck over on this edge of the board for almost the whole game, and I just put him in a bad setup spot where all he could almost do was go in circles.
We called him the Walt Disney Tram.
Oh, yeah.
All he did
little train to
was
nowhere.
go around in
Just going
circles.
Yeah, going nowhere.
So
just
the Walt Disney Tram.
Yeah, but that was interesting. The tileating part, again, is an interesting part of it, because there is some variable setup. A few of the tiles are predetermined.
There's a lot of variable setup.
Yeah, there's a good
So
bit,
I'll run you to setup real quick, Rob, because you didn't get to enjoy that part.
Sure, yeah.
So you're going to pick a trading post. You're going to grab a coal yard, right? And then you're going to grab a coal yard and a trading post. And then you're going to get 2 random city tiles, 2 random towns. And then you're going to get a random specialty tile that wasn't already picked, right? But not a coal yard and not a trading post. So it could be the coal mine. It could be a whistle junction, right? So those are the random setups. And then 3 random or regular tiles. And that's going to create that center line. Mm-hmm. So you got a full random creation of the center line. The only thing that's going to be the same on a center line is going to be there'll be a coal yard and there'll be a trading post. There'll be 2 towns. And then from there, it's super random.
Okay.
And then the end tiles, so the tiles all the way on the west, are going to be, there's 10 of them, and you're only going to place 8 of them. Right. So that will change every game. And then at the beginning, you just get 9 ordinary tiles over on the west. So the west side of the board, the east side of the board where you start, the full right side of the board is going to have 9 random ordinary tiles. Then you take all the remainder, all those specialty tiles, all those other towns, all those marketplaces, and those the general store and the trading posts, all those things that didn't get picked for the center row at the setup, go shuffled into the tiles, and they could come up during the game. But if at the end of the game you're holding on to one of the specialty stops, like this town here, it's going to be negative 10 points for each one you're holding in your hand.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of random setup that dictates how the game will play based on what shows up in the center. Like if there's a gold mine, we didn't have a gold mine show up at all in this game.
Yeah, I think it was like Will looked. It was like the next to last tile in the
Yes.
in the stack. So I guess there's just the one in the game. So if it doesn't come out, it doesn't come out. But,
Right.
Okay.
And then you got upgrade tiles, right? So there's a whole stack of these different upgrades. You're only going to get the number of players plus 2. So 2 more than the number of players are going to be how many upgrade tiles are available for the whole game. And it is a closed economy with those. So you can pay the money to buy that upgrade, add it to your train. However, anyone can pay the cost of that upgrade to then take it from you, but they pay the cost of the upgrade plus an extra resource, a rare resource.
Yeah.
That rare resource goes to the player you took it from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
powerful.
it's a closed economy for those, so they're going to shuffle around in their victory points too. So that's going to change the game because there's a whole stack of upgrades that we never even got to see.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and paying the person for it, I think, is interesting because again, that's a lot to give up. I can't imagine, and I will have to play more to see, but for the 3 or 4 or 5 victory points that it's worth, and the small, in my opinion, at least the upgrades that we saw have small effects on the game. They're not huge effects. It seems like it would be pretty rare that you would pay somebody that to get it off of them. So, well, we'll see.
I mean, how many upgrades did you have, William, at the end? Just one?
I had one.
I had one.
I honestly, I had just enough coal to get my last train into port, and I've actually used that upgrade 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, William and I both made it all the way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got one stuck in the middle.
Any other aspects of the game? Any other mechanics or things in the game that I missed? 4 actions. You can only spend 4 tokens. For your turn is going to consist of 4 actions of spending tokens.
You don't automatically get those 4 actions because again, it's all of your actions are based on either spending a coal token or a whistle token. And about half the game, I only had 2 tokens each turn, so I was only taking 2 a lot of times when y'all were taking 3 or 4. So that made a big difference as well.
Yeah, you're limited to the amount of actions you want to take in the following turns, as opposed to taking how many you want to take this turn. So
Yep.
Anything else that I missed mechanics wise?
Because
Because the rules are not hard.
No, it's pretty simple.
The rules are simple, but it looks like it can be challenging to try to master whatever games are in front of you at the time.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wayne Kruger in the chat. He says he thought my teach video was well done. Thank you, Wayne. That was probably one of the hardest things I've done in a long time.
Oh yeah.
Teaching is that's not easy.
Yeah.
I got to say the depth of this game is not in the rules or how to play.
No.
The depth really was in how to get all that you wanted done in those 4 actions done to set you up for the next turn, so you're not like stuck like Robert with no coal or no whistles and not able to get your engine going.
Yeah.
So that really felt good. I'm so far first play, right? So we're not ready to give it our finals.
Final thought.
We're not going to go on BGG and rate it yet.
Right.
But what we are going to do is play it again.
Oh yeah.
It was good enough. We're like, let's do that again.
Try to squeeze in another one tonight, and it's quick. That's something I don't know we've touched on yet, but it was. I think we were all a little surprised at how quick it went. I mean, we did a 3-player game, and now that we know how to play, I would say we could probably play it in about an hour. So
at 3 players,
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
yeah, we could get it in an hour. And so
What are your thoughts? Final thoughts on your first impressions of Whistle Stop?
This is usually not my type of game, but I would play it again.
You walked in here saying that. As I was
like,
teaching them the game.
I don't want to play it, and then I played it. I was like, not because I won. It was just like, oh well, it's never gonna be the same game twice. For
Right.
one, and honestly, one of the things that I realized about the game is, whatever you guys do, it's really not much of an interaction with me, but you're interacting with the board, which forces me to interact with that. So I have to work with what you also place as part of the math on the board. Even though everything you're doing is to benefit yourself, I got to try to use that and mitigate that for me. How am I going to use what you place on the board to get me points?
All right, we got a call coming in. Let's take a look. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where you're calling from?
You want to see me like this? Do you want to fucking do you want to
Not
Sorry
a real
about that,
caller,
folks.
but yeah, it's okay.
Not sure what that was.
Moving right along.
That was Boise, Idaho. Not sure they got much going on over there. No, William.
He was on that crazy train.
Nothing better to do than a Thursday night.
So back to what William was saying there. William, you talked about interacting with the board as a way of interacting with the other person,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great because I know that No Chill Will gets triggered whenever there's like real direct interaction, right?
So, yes.
It can trigger some emotions,
If I'm going to get mad, I'm going to get mad at the cardboard now.
right?
Yeah, so there you go.
So it's you place the tile somewhere, or maybe you're in my way, kind of Ticket to Ride-ish, where you're in someone's way, but there's no like real direct combat.
Yeah.
So that works out.
I like the mashing together of a lot of different game mechanics. That's one thing here. There's a lot different mechanics going on. They're all pretty simple. None of them get too deep, but you've got, again, kind of the resource.
All right, we got another call coming in. Let's see what this is.
All right.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
do everything, cut.
Yep.
Someone's bored tonight, and that's
Wow.
okay. It's going to happen.
But you've got the resource collection. You're moving around trying to find the best routes to go pick up the resources that you need to then eventually get them to the cities or the towns that you need to trade them in to get the points. You've got the collection of the stocks. So that's an interesting part of it. You got a race, again, to get some kind of the better stocks, the first stocks from each color. And you can kind of see on the board which towns, each town has a color. And so when you go to that town, if you trade in the cubes that the town's looking for, you take that color of stock. So you're kind of racing around the board trying to pick up those. You've got definitely the management of your coal and your whistles, trying to make sure you have the ability to take as many actions as you can each turn. So there's a lot of stuff kind of mixed together there, and I like that part of it, that it's using several different mechanics. So that's cool.
Yeah,
I say thumbs up. Let's play this one again.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to try to fit in another game tonight afterwards, and then we can report back next week and tell everybody how it went. So,
Let's see. What's your type of game? Someone's asking that question. Diego's asking, what's your type of game? All right, let's go around the board on that one while we wait for a real caller. 813-618-7099. Beans and Dice Podcast. Hoping to get someone who really wants to talk about board games.
Rob?
But Diego's asking, Robert, what's your type of game?
My type of game, I'm definitely what most people would call a Euro gamer. I like thinky games. I like Bernie games. I'm not as big into railroad games. I know the 18XX series is the ultimate. I've actually never played an 18XX. From what I understand, this is a very, very, very introductory. If you like this, you might try 18XX next. I'm open to try that some point, but I'm definitely a kind of a cube pusher.
All right, we got a call coming in. Hate to interrupt you, but we'll take this call. Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Mitchell from Louisiana. What's up?
Hey, Mitchell.
Hey, glad you're not a prank caller, man.
Yeah. I thought about making that same noise that the guy was making, but I didn't want you guys to hang up on me.
Oh, that probably would happen, unfortunately. So, good call. Yep.
All right, what do you got for us?
How you guys doing tonight?
Actually, really well. This game was so chill. Whistle Stop by Bezier Games was so chill. So I feel good. Like I'm glad we played this game.
Sure, it's not the whiskey.
That's good. My wife, my wife's a big fan of Ticket to Ride, and that's not my favorite game. But whenever I saw this was train themed, I figured I'd definitely tune in and see. It doesn't look like the mechanics are much like Ticket to Ride, right?
No, it's definitely a step or two up from Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride is kind of one of those epitomes of a introductory. A gateway is a term that's used a lot, gateway type game. This is definitely, I would say, beyond. It would be, I don't know if you'd call this next step.
No.
Maybe two steps. I mean, it's a medium heavy. I was just looking here on BGG. They've got it rated as a 7.1 overall. The weight is a 2.8 out of 5, which for BGG that's a little on the heavier side. I'm a little surprised.
What is Ticket to Ride?
Oh, I could.
Yeah, I wonder what Ticket to Ride is.
Yeah.
Well, and Mitchell, let me jump in on that.
Yeah.
Let me jump in on that with Rob here real quick. I don't think that playing the game is going to be any much harder than Ticket to Ride, which is weighted at
It's a 1.8.
1.8.
So yeah.
So that's not much more. I don't think it's any much harder to play the game. My worry is this: if your wife's anything like my wife, losing is not fun.
Right.
You will destroy her every time. And that's just going to be a feeling that newer gamers are going to struggle with. Is although it wasn't hard to play the game, they didn't do anything effective or efficiently, and then here you did. You're circling the points board twice, and they're probably in that less than 100-point range.
Yeah, and again, it's all relative.
Yeah.
Again, you say it's not hard to play, although I know my wife, she would go halfway through the directions and then she would stop. There's no way she'd ever play
That's
this.
because you're teaching it, Robert. She didn't want to hear you talk.
No, there's still way too much going on in this. So I definitely disagree with you there. I think there's a fair amount going on in this game. So
I say try it, Mitchell. That's my answer to you.
Sure.
Try it with wife.
Okay. Yeah, well, what you're saying about kind of lapping the wife, my wife will not play Mystic Veil with me anymore because by the end, whenever I'm playing my entire deck, she'll want to rage quit. You gotta
Never
be
mind.
careful.
I take my advice back.
yeah. You gotta know your limits. Yeah.
So that's what we played. What about you? How's your week been?
Let's see. So I got Root back to the table this week. You guys fans of Root?
Root?
Yep.
Haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I played it
Really?
twice.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and it's right up my
it's a
alley when it
great
comes to war
And
games.
that's a game that I usually wouldn't play either because it's pretty Euro-y too.
But it's also it's very much conflict simulation.
No,
though.
that's why I want to play because it's conflict. Yeah, there's really much conflict in that game.
So my main critique of it is that it's super asymmetric, like asymmetric in every possible way. And so it's really hard to teach unless you're kind of like the two base factions. Now, they have a fantastic digital version that simplifies it so much and is great for teaching.
So I've heard.
And a few weeks ago, they just came out with the first expansion, the Riverbook expansion, which I haven't gotten my hands on yet. But definitely, if you guys are into it, I would highly suggest that digital version for the teach. But then you get spoiled because I've been playing online with my friends for a while, and we played in person for the first time this week. And it's like, oh, I got to do all this on my own now. It's a very kind of finicky game. You got to move things around and things like that.
Yeah.
So that'd be my only critique of it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that the app is a really good implementation and, like you say, a really good way to learn the game. I've heard a lot of people say that if you're introducing it to somebody new, the app is really, really good and really smooth. And I've heard some people say it's one of the best board game apps that they've ever played. So, yeah. I
would agree. Maybe second only to the Scythe one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we played that.
I was just going to say that when it comes to like Scythe.
Yeah.
Playing the digital implementation, you get spoiled.
Yeah.
You're not moving all those little pieces around and cubes up and down. And
you've got a fair amount of that.
Me and my buddies can get through a game of Scythe in probably 15, 20 minutes digital because, it's just we know our strategy. We know 5 turns ahead what we're doing.
Nice.
We've played it so much. It's just the actual moving and all that takes the time. So so awesome. You know, the slice on a table is going to take at least an hour. You know, even with experienced players, and on the app you can get through 3 games in that time if you're having a good night.
But I say slow down when it comes to talking about digital gameplay because Steven might call back.
Yeah, he's not happy about that.
He's not a fan of online gaming.
Yeah.
It's one of our early episodes.
I'm not a big fan of most digital games. These are kind of exceptions, like Tabletop Simulator, whenever it's not like, I don't know what the word is, programmed to where you have to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
That's even less user-friendly than doing it on the table, you know. But I understand during COVID, a lot of people, that was their only way to play. But
it has its place in the market, especially since, you know, situations throughout the world. I agree with, you know, having that. But it also, I've seen it where people will play the digital version and then go buy the physical copy because the digital version was what they liked. So.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to bring up while we're on the topic of Root is just that company, Leader Games in general. So far they have like 3 games: Bass, Root, and Fort. Have you guys played any of the other ones?
They're
all 3 home
I've seen Fort, but I've not played it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot for it, but I haven't actually played it yet. And I know there's another one currently on Kickstarter. I don't recall.
It's actually fulfilling like right now.
Is it? Okay.
It's a legacy game.
Ah, that's right. Yeah.
My buddy backed it, so we're going to be playing that soon.
Cool.
But I've noticed a trend. All their games are 4 letters. So Vass, Root,
right.
Oath, and Fort.
He catches patterns.
Wow.
Yeah, doing a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Vass, in a lot of ways, is kind of like, in my opinion, Root 1.0. It's very asymmetric. It's a dungeon crawl, though.
And
Root's definitely, in my opinion, improved on it.
You can play as the dungeon in that one. Is that right?
Yeah, the cave. That's my wife's favorite thing. Because as the cave, you start collapsing in on people, and that's your goal, is to collapse before they accomplish their goal.
Right.
She likes doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like she just wants to beat you up.
And then, exactly, yeah. And then Fort is a deck builder, which is a nice, refreshing twist. It's nothing at all like their other games. So, like I said, they only have a handful of games out, but all of them, in my opinion, are really, really good. I think it's definitely a new up-and-comer. Or I guess it's not new at this point. It's been several years, but big fan of that company.
Yeah, very cool.
Well,
Cool.
Mitchell, thank you for
you guys
sharing.
Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you for calling in. I appreciate that. You kind of saw that we needed that rescue.
Jump on in.
When so you jumped in and saved us. To all of you in the chat, just listening, man. You know, be like Mitchell, call us in and help us out when we get some crazy phone calls like that. Give us something real, someone real to talk to. So appreciate y'all out there.
It's fun, viewers. Call in. I do this every Thursday. I have nothing better to do. I'm joking.
We're
It's
kind.
fun. It's fun.
We're kind. We're not going to bite anybody. So call on in.
I
Yeah.
might. But
William might.
Yeah,
We'll control him.
We'll keep him in the corner over there. Yeah.
All right.
Take care, man. Have a great week.
Thanks.
See you.
You too. Bye.
All right, that was Mitchell from New Iberia, Louisiana.
So I think back to what Rob was saying. You play Euros, right? So,
Yeah, you definitely.
Diego's question on the chat: what type of games are your games?
Yeah, I'm definitely the Euro guy, and so I mean that was one of the things coming in when we were first talking about setting up the channel and everything, is that we are a little bit on opposite ends, because I'm a Euro guy, and you, what's your preference?
All right. Well, when it comes to my games, I am really an omni gamer at the end of the day. Like
Me too. Yeah.
I mean, you look at this backboard behind me and this wall. There's so many different types of games, right? Which ones attract me the most are games with theme and games with history.
Yeah.
Like I just like learning about history, and games. I find games are a great avenue for me to learn about history. Like right now, I'm reading through. I'm more than halfway through a very large Civil War book, learning about the Civil War, because of a Civil War board game that I want to play, right? Because it just kind of connects for me. So that's the type of game I'm going to enjoy. There are some very deep Euros that maybe I didn't enjoy because it was it was more math and more grids and charts, than I wanted it to be, and not a lot of luck. Like I like games that have some luck involved, because I like to level the playing field. And so playing with new people, which I tend to do, I tend to be teaching people games. It's a lot of what I do, introducing someone to a new game. And if your game has no luck, if you're playing Root and teaching somebody else how to play,
that's not a good.
You're going to destroy them. And they're even just some luck might help them at least stay in the competition.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of game I like. Theme, history, and some aspect of luck in there. So, William, what type of games are your games?
Well, I mean, I like the conflict games. The one-on-one, head-to-head kind of competition games. Games with miniatures in it, but yes, theme. It also has to have theme in it. So if I'm going to play a war game, it needs to match, whether it's fantasy, whether it's it's real, or based on actual events in history. So long as it go, it's some basis to that. I like to play those. Some dungeon crawls too, although I don't get to play it as often.
See how he did that?
Yeah.
You know what he's thinking of.
Yeah, because certain people don't want to play dungeon crawls as much because for one, they have too much theme.
I guess we'll come back around and circle back on what type of games are not our types. Keep going.
But in mostly the war games though, for sure. But there's not, in our little group, there's not many. Carlos plays war games with us. Max, he's another one. Zeno's another one who likes to play war games a lot.
Sure.
But the problem is that it takes a lot of time to set them up and a lot of time to play them.
And they're only 2-player.
Yeah, they're only 2-player.
Usually.
And you get to like a game day or something, it's so hard to break off with just 2 people.
Got 20 people there. Yeah, just 2 of us.
Even though 2-player games are my favorite games.
Yeah. My least favorite, Blitz Bowl, Blood Bowl. Yeah,
cut me deep.
Man, you
Shot
just
me
lost
hard
right there.
Yeah, that's it's just not my bag. Although I'll say pretty much anything with miniatures and measuring. Although there's no measuring in Blood Bowl, but anything where you got to pull out rulers and laser pointers and you roll a bunch of dice. That's not my thing. Keep it on a board. Keep it measurable. I can see where you get your points and how you win. That's me. Yep.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I love something about tabletop miniatures games and just the terrain and all that fun stuff. It's something I love. But for me, what I wouldn't do, right? What I struggle with, I'll say, I love the idea of, I just never do, is the campaign style game. So Williams, when I mentioned, he's got his voice changed a little bit when he talked about dungeon crawls.
Oh, yeah.
It's specifically because of swords and sorcery.
Well, there's that.
Right?
There was Descent.
There's so many dungeon crawl campaign games, and the toughest part I find is getting the same group of people back together again for another session of that same game. I know Robert's been successful at it with Gloomhaven.
Yeah,
but
I go all in when I get into the campaign. I'm one of the most dedicated people. I'll be the first one to show up every time, and I'm getting on people when they cancel and stuff like that. So yeah,
because you want to know what the story is. You guys want to know the ending to that.
When I commit to doing it, and I do it probably more than I should, because at one time I was playing 3 or 4 of them at a time. But
right, it leaves you no time for anything else. Like there's getting into a campaign game creates, and I think I touched on this last week. I touched on the idea of being a failure, right? Committing to something and not being able to finish it. Now it's a stressor and not a fun thing anymore, right? So committing to a campaign game, and maybe someone else reaches out to me and says, hey, you want to play this game? And I have to say, yeah, I want to, but I can't because I'm doing this game, right? Committing to that one game. I don't want to commit to a long-term game when there's so many other good games to play that I have the opportunity to play.
To me, it's worth it to really get into a game and to really experience that game and see everything it has to offer. And to do that over multiple play sessions is exciting for me.
So, it would have to be a special game for me to do that. And
I just think you need to give it a shot. I mean,
I have.
He's tried.
But we got to get the same people over and over again. I'm starting to see a continuation here of this 3, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something we can do. But I'm more of a short campaign type of guy. Like we did the Fenris campaign, and I think that was 8 plays.
It was 8 or 12, but yeah, something like that.
It wasn't
No,
that.
there was a max and there was a minimum, I think. And
Yeah.
you guys did not reach the maximum for that.
It wasn't a huge amount. That kind of commitment I can do, but this never-ending commitment, I would only do that for Dungeons and Dragons. That's it.
Well,
that would be the only thing I'd do.
That's what
for that.
Gloomhaven is, basically. But yeah,
for Euro gamers.
yeah, exactly,
Yes, exactly.
Yep, exactly.
It's D&D for Euro gamers, and that's why I couldn't follow.
Frosthaven coming out shortly. Can't wait. Can't wait.
I think you told me the story. You got into it and you were role playing it.
Yeah, but apparently, if you role play it,
it didn't work out too well for you.
Yeah,
you're not optimizing your player, and
the game can be punishing, unfortunately, if you're not playing it well. So, and if
there's
you're doing,
my answer for what I just.
I mean, for me, it's the super mathy games.
Yeah.
Power Grid. I tried it once.
I liked it.
I like Power Grid.
See, I'm an Omni gamer. I like Power Grid.
I tried it, and I knew it wasn't for me. I was like, I didn't
say I won.
No,
I did terrible.
Yeah. But you played it.
Those kind of games where you have to min max so much for everything, and it's just like, okay, I feel like I'm doing homework, not playing a game, which is fine. People love those games, and I actually enjoy watching people play them because you can see the people who make the mistakes in their head, and it's already on the board, and they just lose it. I'm sorry, for me it's just funny. I just like that part, especially when you get people. We have a lot of smart people in our group and who are really mathematical geniuses, and they just make the miscalculation, and you're just like, what happened?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean those kind of games.
You just enjoy watching people suffer.
I do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But those kind of games. Certain deck builders know. I like Terraform Mars,
but you don't like Dominion.
I won't. No.
I like Dominion.
I like Dominion.
And actually, we'll talk about that soon with some news about Dominion.
No, I won't play Dominion. I mean, I won't. I'll play it if there's nothing else on the table. I'll play with people, but it's gonna take a little. You have to drag me to get that.
If I'm on a deserted island and Dominion is the only thing, then I'll play it.
I might eat it to
survive.
Back some hunger. Yeah, but yeah.
So Diego, I hope that answers your questions on what types of games we like, and then we gave you also what we don't do as much.
Yeah. Good question.
But on the Dominion front, did you see that there's? I saw a news article about Dominion getting an AI app.
I saw something. I heard something about that.
But it's supposed to be like a Watson level intelligence.
Oh, really? Ultimate crazy, never beat the computer
right?
Kind
like
of thing.
You go at it, and it builds algorithms to figure you out and how to beat you.
Well,
someone will figure it out. They always do.
Yeah, that'll be a new challenge for somebody out there. Not me, but for somebody. Yeah.
I think Dominion was still a good deck builder.
It is a good game.
It is still I used to play a lot of it solo.
It's a good game. Nah, just not for me.
Credited with the invention of the genre of the mechanic.
It was
deck building. So yeah.
Phone line is open, 813-618-7099. Call in, talk to us about what you've been playing. The topic is open, whatever y'all folks want to talk about.
Right.
We're going to take a moment and talk about games that we've played. We recently had our game day event last Saturday at Your Turn, a board game cafe in Zephyr Hills, Florida. We had, I think it was like 20.
It's about 20 adults and about 10 under 18 showed up. So, yeah.
Dang near 30 people.
It was almost 30 people.
30 human beings.
Yes, 30 humans. Not all gaming. There was a few of them that were younger that really didn't game. Other than I think I saw some Chutes and Ladders and some Kerplunk being played. So, yeah.
And they ate a lot of ice cream.
Yeah, ate a lot of ice cream.
Dan appreciated that.
Yeah.
I went mainly for the Unmatched.
Yep.
So Brian Zeno and I hosted an Unmatched Tournament. We did that last time, and that was kind of a tournament off the cuff, just out of nowhere. But this time we planned it ahead of time.
Advertised it a little bit. Yeah, you had, 10 people?
We had 10 people play, and Brian Zeno was the winner.
Yep.
Using Sinbad. So he ended up winning. This time we did not a bracket tournament. We just did 3 rounds, and whoever had the best record after the 3 rounds ended up being the winner. Brian Zeno went undefeated, 3-0. And ended up being the winner of the tournament. A lot of new folks that showed up. If I remember correctly, 4 new to Unmatched gamers that we taught that day, and they ended up doing well. They at least each got 1 win. I don't remember any one of the new ones going down with no wins, but it went fast. Right? It was a tournament was done in like 2.5 hours. With doing 3 rounds. I love Unmatched. It's so fast. It's so quick.
It's an easy game to learn.
Yes.
Hard game to try to get everything, what to do, when to do it, when to do it right.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you got to kind of know your character, your deck, and then kind of know a little bit about your opponent and what they can do. So it's a game that definitely gets better with more plays. And they keep coming out with new packs or new characters, so that keeps it exciting for those people who are really into it. But it's a fun game. There's
I think it's like 24 or something different characters out right now. So, I mean, everybody was playing all kinds of stuff. Medusa, we had a couple of Bruce Lees out there. I was playing Bigfoot because I like how melee he is with that log, how much damage he can do.
Were you guys picking, or were you guys doing random?
We selected.
Okay.
Everybody picked their character.
That's cool.
Gave you some ownership on it.
Yeah, I think there was a couple. Xeno owns everything now. I think that they've made.
Yeah, he dove in the deep end of that pool.
Yeah, and you've got just about everything. So between the two of you, y'all had probably duplicates of just about everything. If somebody really wanted to play somebody,
I have everything except for Buffy. He has Buffy.
Yeah,
so that's the only thing we couldn't duplicate. He played for the first time at last month's Unmatched Tournament, and he loved it. So then he bought everything.
Yeah,
he's in.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got the Deadpool pre-ordered, so I'm excited about that. Looking forward to getting Deadpool in to see how he compares.
I wonder how overpowered he's going to be.
I'm just looking to see how fun his cards are.
Hopefully fun. I'd be more with the fun with him. I don't know if he'll be a great character. We'll see what they do with it. But
is the game really PG?
In general,
it is. It isn't bad or anything.
So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to tone him down.
Yeah, there's a lot of Crayola artwork on his. He's got a lot of you know how in the movies he had a lot of drawings.
Yeah,
right, little colory Crayola style drawings. And those cards all look like that, like Crayola,
like the fourth wall. Like he drew his own cards,
right?
Like he drew. Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
That's how they did
so
it.
him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's Unmatched. That's the first game I played. We'll go to William.
Again, I played another game, For Glory, with my friend Richard. He came up there to the cafe. We played that. He actually won. So I played one game with Rob, one game with Carlos, and then I played one game with my friend Richard. I won against Rob. Carlos stomped me. He destroyed me when I played against you.
Yeah.
And then it was a close win with Richard. He won. So it looks.
Have you won the game yet?
Yeah, when I first played it
was just Robert. That was
it.
Yep.
But every time I played, I did a different strategy, and I was just trying to find where I need to work on and stuff like that. So I even did what you did when you destroyed me. You used the same gliders. It didn't work out the way it was supposed to.
So you tried to emulate the strategy I used to defeat you.
Do that, and I realized that. So I used it against someone, and just the way the cards were being played out, it didn't work that turn.
I had Robert, if you remember the game. I had Restarius. He's the guy with the he's a gladiator, but he has like a trident and a net, right? And his whole thing is he can tap one of the opponent's gladiators when he attacks.
So they can't do
So when I went first, I would tap one of his bigger guys. So he had a lot less options. But I had two of these Restarius. So each combat,
double messing them up
in that one gladiator arena, I got to tap two of his guys, and there's not a lot of gladiators on each side, so that you could see the frustration in Will's face. And then I played Restraint. It's like one of the action cards, the tactic cards. So I played that one. That also lets you tap. So it's like 3 in 1 round. I tapped his guys.
I had no option. Yeah, so he did the same thing.
Yeah,
that's For Glory, and it's by
I think it's like Spellcraft.
Spellcraft.
Yeah,
Spellcraft Games. I enjoyed that deck builder. I did enjoy it. It goes a little long for a deck builder.
That's what I felt. Yeah,
because it was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Well, it says up to 90 minutes.
60 to 90 minutes is what it's advertised here. Yeah,
and we were just over an hour and a half, almost 2 hours.
But yes, it's a deck builder that takes that long. But it's a thinky strategy game in the end of it too. So it's actually kind of two games in one.
I kind of liked it because it reminded me a little bit of the feeling I got with Dune, which is there's this 2 different games going on at the same time.
Yeah.
One game where you're building resources and getting gladiators and getting tools and equipment for them. And then the combat happens, right? Where like in Dune, you're doing all the resources gathering and you're going to worker placement stuff. And at the end, combat happens. So it kind of gives you there's something to plan to. There's an event that's going to occur, and are you ready for it? Did you get your resources? So it didn't feel like we're doing the same thing over and over again. No. We're playing 2 different games at the same time.
We kind of like get resource, combat, and then we just dropped off, and then we just build back up again.
So For Glory, good game.
Cool. My main game that I played, the main thing I was looking forward to, we planned this, started planning it months before, and we finally got the 4 who were interested in playing together. But we played David Carlton's copy, a very nice painted copy of Anachrony. And Anachrony is a game I've wanted to play for a long time, for Muhammad, who played with us, said he thinks I've been wanting to play it as long as I've known him. I've been talking about wanting to play this game, so it's been years and years I've talked about this game. So Anachrony, I've got it up here on the BGG. It's an 8.1 rating. The thing about this game that's intimidating to a lot of people is you'll see here the weight out of a 5. It's 3.99, so that's almost as high as I've ever seen a game on a weight rated. A 4 or above is almost unheard of on BGG for a lot of people. A lot of people wouldn't touch this game, but it is. It says 30 to 120 minutes. Plays 1 to 4 players. Although I guess there's an expansion. David was saying that he's got that plays a 5th player. I can't imagine playing it with 5. It took us. 2 people had played before. David's played it several times. Muhammad had played it, I think, once or twice, and then Evan and I had never played. And it was we played right at 3 hours, which I guess isn't too bad. But it's a heavy game. It's I'll pull up some pictures here of it. It's a
okay. I'm sorry, Robert. What are you doing? Like, what is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the thing, the
and
theme,
don't you say the word cube?
Theme on it is time travel. No, there's no cubes in this. Oh no, there are. Well, yeah. They're actually, I guess they're not cubes. It depends probably on the version that you have. But
what
there
are
are
they then?
some nice upgraded bits. There's like water and there's some other stuff that in this version. Actually, it may not have come as cubes ever. You can see here probably as we go through some of the pictures, but they've got some nice little upgraded bits for it. Or maybe again those may be the standard bits, but here's some the minis in it are really cool. You have these tech suits that you have to put your workers in. The idea is that it's a time traveling game, and there is an asteroid that is has hit the Earth, and there's another asteroid coming, and so you're trying to plan for the first asteroid has done some damage to the Earth, and so your workers have to get in these mech suits to go out, these tech suits they call them, to go out onto the board. It's primarily a worker placement game, but you're going out on the board to take these actions, and each round starts with you deciding. You've got all these workers, and some of them are tired. They're in sleepy mode, we called it. And some of them are awake. And then you've got one of the first things you have to do is you have to spend resources to power up your tech suits. And you've got 6 spots and 6 tech suits, and you have to decide how many of those you want to power up at the beginning. And if you don't use any of those tech suits during the worker placement phase of the game, you've wasted those resources that you paid to power up those tech suits. So you want to try, the very first thing you're doing each round of the game is you're trying to work out your whole turn of how many guys you're going to place, how many you need, and there's limited spaces. Only one person can go to most of the spaces, so you're trying to predict that guy's going to go for those spaces, that guy's going to go for that spaces, that girl is going to go for those spaces, and so I need to take those 4 spaces. Even though I've got 6 workers that I might be able to use, I'm probably only going to be able to use 4 of them, so I'm only ideally want to power up 4 of my tech suits.
Or you haven't even taken a turn yet.
Exactly,
No.
exactly. That's the big thing. So you're having to do a lot of pre-thinking before you actually
You're thinking about your turn, thinking about the guy's turn next to you, his turn,
Yeah.
his turn.
4 hours later.
Yep, exactly. And then you can see here on this photo, the picture here, the board is fairly tight, and we played it at 4, so we played it at maximum player count.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of spaces on the board. Like, I wasn't sure what was even going on there, but when I walked by, I took pictures.
Yep.
It really didn't seem like it was a giant sprawling world or board.
No.
There was just some big spaces.
Yeah, your little player boards, you've got things where you're just kind of managing, you're building some buildings, so you're putting those on there, you're managing some resources. Again, your little tech suits here that you're putting on your board.
A lot of table space.
Yeah, it takes up table space because of that, because your player section
I saw
is
you
large.
guys bringing in extra tables from outside.
Yeah.
Just to be able to set up the game.
Just to set it up and play it. But I will say 100%, number one, 100% thank you to David and for Muhammad for teaching. It was a big teach. It took us almost an hour just to get through the teach. So that was a big investment there.
Thank you.
And then thank you, David, for letting us play your copy of the game. Your copy was beautiful. I don't have any photos here, unfortunately, loaded on the computer. I took some pictures on my phone, but I can't really show them off here. I should have thought of that.
They're on the Instagram. I had taken pictures. They're on the Beans and Dice Instagram.
Would you play it again?
Find us there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to playing again. As soon as we were done, I said, I finished last of the 4, and it was fairly close, but as soon as we were done, I said, yeah, now that I know what I'm doing, I definitely want to play this game again. And I would say 100% worth the 3 hours hour investment. And now that if the same 4 played again, Wes knowing what we do, we'd probably get it down to 2.5 hours. But yeah, it's an outstanding game. I'm glad I played, and like you said, Will, I definitely would play again. So I would recommend it, but it is on the heavy end. I would recommend it to the heavier gamer who has, an hour to learn it if you've never played it, and who has, 2-3 hours to play. It is one of those, your first game, you're probably not going to do well. People who have played it before are gonna beat you. So
we got a call, right?
Yep.
Bees and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Aaron calling from Columbus again. It's been a few weeks.
Hey, Aaron.
Aaron, how are you?
How's it going?
Yeah, you were about to get a game day going, if I'm right, before last time we spoke.
Yeah, we did. We did get a game day. That's been a while ago now. Probably about a month ago.
A blast from the past.
And it didn't turn quite into the full game day I hoped for. There's been a lot going on. So
Sure.
And we played a new game, a little longer game. I think you guys talked about it maybe last week. I can't remember. Empire.
Age of
the one with
After the Empire.
After the Empire.
Oh,
Yes.
That's
yeah, so,
a hot game right now.
Yes, I did get the Kickstarter on that, the reprint. I had to.
So one of
Aaron, tell me about After the Empire, because we haven't got to play it. We've only heard it from another caller. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was good. I definitely want to play it again. I mean, I like worker placement, and I think it does worker placement really well. I think the decisions are interesting, but it's really interesting. As I was playing through it, I felt like it's almost like this competitive game, but set up like you're doing all this worker placement stuff for almost like how cooperative games are set up to. So you're like the game itself is what's trying to beat you down,
right?
But you're playing this cooperative game around that system. So it was kind of interesting. It was our first time playing, so that kind of second phase of the game where you're dealing with the waves of attacks coming from
the tower defense part of the game.
It was a lot to kind of process. Yeah, it was a lot to process and like think through. And so with us learning and that part not being super clear to us from kind of the rules, it took us a while. I think we'll be playing a 4-player game. It probably took us about 2.5 hours. I think once you know how to play it, you could probably play it in about an hour and a half.
That's what I've been hearing.
So I'd definitely give it another play. Me personally, just for the first play, I enjoyed it's nothing. I don't think they're doing anything super exciting with the worker placement, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. A lot of unique choices to kind of figure out how you're doing things, and then you've got your own, spots on the board that you need to do sooner rather than later, or you'll be blocked off. But then there are things you definitely needed to do that you had access to on your own personal kind of board that you knew you were always going to be able to do. So it was that nice push and pull of like, I know I need to get out there, but should I try and do this first to make this more efficient? So I would definitely give it another play, but with it being 2.5 hours.
That's and that's that weird time limit, isn't it? It's like that after an hour and a half, which is the we were talking about For Glory just a moment ago. It hit that hour and a half mark, and I'm like, what other games could I play in an hour and a half that give me more?
Yep. That's that kind of that question.
And I think that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I feel like that has defined the type of games I like more and more now. And not to say there aren't longer 2+ hour games that I enjoy and will play, but more times than not, it's the hour and a half game. And if it goes beyond that, what is it doing? It's more exciting to me than playing 2 1-hour games or whatever. So
right.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. And to be fair, we were learning it. I think people get with all the games that come out, we just get too caught up in, that game took too long. Well, it's because we didn't know how to play, and you have to teach the game, and then you're not doing things as quickly because you're still learning. So I think if you enjoy that game, I think it'll fit in that 1 hour and a half kind of time frame pretty well once you know what you're doing.
And not that it should matter, but did you get to play the copy with the upgraded little minis?
It does
did you
matter.
play with the cubes, or?
I don't think so. I didn't know there was a difference. I thought my friend did kickstart it, but what I saw definitely didn't match the upgraded.
Was it cubes or minis?
Yeah, they were cubes. Everything was cubes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a version with all cubes. And I think the Kickstarter may have had 2 levels where you could get just that, or you could get the little plastic minis.
Well,
most of the stuff on
think
BGG I'm showing is with all the minis.
I think the first one they did had that option. The second one is just a second edition reprint. So
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
so
No, but it has
no,
minis,
it does.
and you can
Yeah,
actually
the
just
minis.
buy the minis to upgrade your old copy.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah.
A lot of people are getting the upgraded
you,
ones.
you look at that castle, the plastic castle. You put little mini figures on top, and you know, I think it makes a bigger difference.
Although I don't mind the cubes, of course, everybody knows that. But no, the cubes would be fine with me. But the little minis, I mean, they're little teeny tiny minis, but they look cool. Yeah,
I mean, they look good in a picture.
yeah.
Real good.
All right, that was After the Empire.
Yep.
Which is on Kickstarter. Actually, no. what's
ended.
it?
I think that one's ended. That one's all
ended
done.
already.
There's an after thing going on.
Oh, what they call the late pledge?
Yeah.
The pledge manager, whatever.
It's one of those managers where they're still funding stuff for it.
Well, I'll have my copy, and I'm sure I can.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Yeah, we'll
give
play
you
it
guys a
soon, and
play,
we'll be able to give people our input on it. What else have you been playing? Anything else?
Yeah, it's a family come up. I got a couple new games. We did get Red Rising to the table once, and
Okay.
then played Nidavellir a couple times.
Oh, I'm really wanting to play that one.
I knew. I mean, I knew when it's been a year since Tom reviewed it on the Dice Tower.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't here in the States, and I knew when he reviewed it, I was like, this is the type of game for me. And I played it on Board Game Arena once, and then I got my copy. So I think I played it 3 times total now. And yeah, it's great. I love it.
It looks like it.
It's mostly cards,
it's
though,
really
from what I
simple.
remember.
Yeah, it's definitely a card. It's a card drafting game, but there's this bidding economy in it that makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Set collection, but it's got that balance of like set collection, but also like specializing in one color, is going to be beneficial. So you're playing that balance of like,
they have
do I
different.
get a bunch of red cards,
I think you
or
played
do
it.
I spread out and get a little
Was it
bit
you?
of
I saw someone play it.
It's good.
Yeah, and each of the different colors has a different ability. So if you get so many greens, it may just multiply your points. If you get so many reds, you may be able to do a special action. So you're really kind of choosing those. And then the really cool part of it is that whole thing about the ones you don't use. If you bid 0 for one of the groups of cards, and let other people choose first, you'll still always get a card. But if you bid 0, you'll probably get whatever's left over. But then you get to take the 2 coins that you didn't use, the bidding coins, and you toss one of them away and take the next highest level of that. So you can actually start upgrading the ones you don't use
By not bidding?
to get higher and higher numbers, so that in the future you'll have a better chance of winning bids in the future. So it's got some really cool mechanics in it.
Well, see, Aaron, right there, you were talking to Rob the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Here, talk to me for a second, Aaron.
Yeah.
Who are you and what are you doing in that game?
Who cares? But Carlos likes his
You know
theme.
what?
So
Rob's
I
eyes
guess
just lit up, though.
I don't know quite for sure who you are. I would say maybe you're playing a bunch of
It doesn't matter.
dwarfs.
Well, I believe that from what I've heard, I don't mean to cut you off, but from what I've heard, you're at a tavern. You've entered a tavern and you're recruiting a group of
See, I like this.
of adventurers.
I'm so far so good.
Yep. So
keep
you're
it going.
So you're bidding on these different adventures to try to recruit them to your party instead of
Sounds
your
like the
opponent's
start
party.
of every D&D campaign.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
going.
And it ends there. So I mean, you're just trying to recruit the best band of adventurers, and again, you're getting bonuses by
To bid for the different characters that you're going to take. I'm in.
Yep. So if you get compatible groups, if you get
I doubt it.
dwarves or humans or whatever, then you're taking advantage of whatever their special ability is. So
I have to record that session because when you play against Rob, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm getting my dwarf. Rob's like, I'm just getting 10 points.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. See,
versus
thank you,
points.
Robert,
Yeah.
because that's what I'm looking for as theme.
Yeah.
So that was, and I don't even know how to pronounce it. How do you pronounce that, Aaron?
Nidavellir. I don't know where it comes from, but like something about like the dwarf planet where like Thor makes that weapon in Avengers. I don't know. It's not Marvel themed or anything, but it's definitely like this dwarf.
Oh, it's one
theme.
of the realms.
It's one of the realms in the Norse mythology.
Yes, that's what it is. Okay.
Nidavellir, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm looking forward to playing.
Artwork looks great.
And from what I've heard, not real expensive. It's there's not a whole lot to it, so I'm looking forward to picking
You
up
own
a
it yet,
copy.
Robert?
And, I'm going to get it soon, actually, probably.
I'm going to encourage you to.
I think I'm
I'm
going to pick
in.
that one up. Yep. Anything else you've been playing lately?
Not really playing. No, I'm hoping in the near future, especially like as some of the stores lift up, that I kind of we got into Ashes Reborn.
Okay,
It was like the revamp of that game.
2.0.
So I'm hoping to. I think I talked to you a while back about trying to dip my toe in like the competitive world or organized play world.
Yeah, we're talking.
I'm kind of hoping to do
there
that.
you go.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to do that with this game.
That's a Plaid Hat, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Plaid Hat. Got it. Yeah.
They're coming out with Summoner
back.
Wars again too. They're bringing out Summoner Wars now, a second edition. There'll be a competitive scene for that.
Good time too.
Yeah, I never played that, but I heard people
again.
love it. So
Robert and I used to play it all the time at lunch at work. It was a great competitive 2-player quick battle game.
Yeah.
So there's some opportunity with Plaid Hat for you to get into that competitive scene. There's something about it, man. We drove out to a tournament a few weeks ago, car packed with a bunch of guys, and played at a brewery against people from all over the state of Florida. That competitive feeling is it's second to none.
Blood Bowl. Yep.
It don't matter what it is. I'll play X-Wing. I'll play Blood Bowl.
I'm just specifying. You didn't say what game you were playing.
No, but it was Blood Bowl.
Yep,
but just the idea of going out and meeting other people who are into what you're into, talking strategy and tactics with them.
Yeah, it's cool.
I totally recommend it, Aaron. If you can find it, and that's why I'm pushing that Unmatched Tournament scene.
Sure. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of that lately because it's just fun. It's just fun to get ranked.
yeah, I think that's it. I think like I don't need to be great, but I just being out there and like really diving into a game like that, like I never even fully understood what people meant when they said the meta of a game.
Yeah.
But I've kind of looked at a few games that have the potential for that competitive and organized scene and start to understand like how much thought and how much you get excited about the game and how much thinking and deck building and things you're doing.
Yeah.
When you're not playing.
In the X-Wing scene,
it's really cool.
In the X-Wing scene, we called it turn 0. Right, so even before you flip a dial on turn 1, it's all that fun stuff before that.
The
list building.
List building, deck building, setting up your team, your squad, whatever it is. Yeah, that stuff you do before the game even starts.
Studying other lists and how they would come against your list. You're right, Aaron. There's so much enjoyment in that turn 0 aspect.
Yeah.
So I say go for it, man. Make it happen.
That's fun.
And you might have to build that scene yourself. As things open up, you may have to be the guy that pushes that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. I know I'm on a couple of Discords, so there's definitely some people out there. I think we're just maybe another month away from being kind of fully open here in Columbus. So yeah, sounds great. Well,
hey man, great report. Great reporting, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
That was an awesome call, awesome report. A lot of good games in there.
Appreciate it.
Some comments on the trail here for you, Aaron. Woohoo for After the Empire.
Yeah.
They're saying it. I think it's Mitchell saying it gets faster the more you play it.
Sure.
And he said the game found is over. So I'm wrong. There's no more funding. The game found is over. Nobody else can get it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So you got some comments in the trail there, Aaron. Thank you so much for the call, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Doing what you're doing. Love it.
That was Aaron from Columbus, Ohio, home of Origins.
Don't get it wrong. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Origins.
Okay. Origins Game Fair.
Yep.
Cool.
Right.
So I'm certain he's going to find some more gamers up there to get some Ashes with. I've heard good things of Ashes. I hear there's a lot though. There's like so much content in that game system.
Yes.
That anyone who gets in, it's a tough part trying to figure out what to get, to how to get into that.
Yep.
But I love the idea of competitive gameplay.
Card-based gameplay, yep.
So that puts us to...
Yes, we're right at the hour now. I don't know if we want to try to squeeze any more in or if we're good.
Or we save that content for next time.
Yeah, we can talk more about our game
I
day.
played Unmatched. Yep. You played For Glory.
Anachrony.
And you played... sounds like you fell in love with Anachrony.
That's a game I'm looking forward to. I'm going to play that again. Yep.
So we'll save the rest of the content for next week's show. And hope, if you have any ideas for topics, please throw them out there at us.
Yeah.
Is there a game that you...
If anybody sees a game on the shelf here, you can see in the background. I mean, if
screenshot it,
even
take a peek.
Not on the shelf, shoot something to us, a comment somewhere on the YouTubes. We'll see if we have it. If we're willing to play just about anything under a couple hours at least, we'll play it. We'll give you our opinion on it. If we played it before, we'll talk about it. So
if we don't have it, send it to us.
Yeah, there you go. We'll play whatever. We'll give you a review.
I promise we'll send it back.
Yeah, we're cheap. Yeah.
Yes, Carlos likes that Panda game.
Oh, Way of the Panda. Send that to us.
Send it to Santa
send that to
Carlos.
us. I love
No.
that. That was a good game. Yeah.
No. No.
Anyway, wrap it up.
Bring it back in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show tonight. Call-in show every Thursday night.
Yep.
So far, every Thursday night.
So far?
Yes.
I got my son's graduation coming up, though.
Oh, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, I got to figure that one out.
We
June
push
3rd.
a day one way or the other or something. We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out. I'll tell the kid he's got to do it without me.
There you go. Yeah.
This is the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about
How we game.
I'm Carlos,
I'm William.
I'm Robert.
and we'll catch you all next week.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
watching.
watching.
Take care.
Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.